Alrighty, how's everybody doing? So today we're going to remove a roll of film from the Contina and load another roll of film. So I just got to the end of a roll of film, and I know that because you can see the lovely Bakelite plastic film indicator here is at 36. And as I advanced to the next frame, or as I advanced the lever to take an exposure, I felt resistance before the lever reached the end of the wind stroke, indicating that I was surely at the last frame. So whenever you're at the last frame or near the last frame, be gentle with the wind stroke, because you should anticipate a little bit of resistance. When you feel that resistance, you know that's it. You should not take another exposure, otherwise your last two exposures will overlap. That's where we're at with this roll of film, and so therefore we're going to take the film out of the camera. First thing I'm going to do is take it out of the case, because in this particular camera you need to do that. So there we go. Now, what I need to do is release the mechanism which prevents the film from moving backwards, and I do this by pressing that button. And in this particular camera, in many cameras, most cameras aren't like this, but in this particular camera, I need to keep that button depressed as I'm rewinding the film. I don't know if it's a peculiarity of this model. I mean, this thing's close to 60 years old. I don't know, around 60 years old. Or if it's general to most Contina models, but on this one, I'm going to press that, keep it depressed as I rewind. So press that there. Very good. Now I've released the tension. Now I'm going to rewind the film using the rewind knob. And the rewind knob on the Contina, when you turn it, it elevates a wee bit to give you a little better grip surface, better access to it, which is nice. And again, I'm keeping my finger here depressed on this knob, and I'm just going to rewind the film like so. I have no idea if you can hear it. Maybe you can hear the film rewinding. It's a little quiet. Maybe you can hear my neighbors doing some renovations in their apartment. I'm not really sure what's coming through on the microphone right now. So, but nonetheless, okay. There we go, okay. So I just heard and felt the end of the film leader release from the take-up spool over here, and yeah, that's it. Okay, so I can now feel there's no resistance of any kind, and there is a definite tactile sensation. You really can't miss it. Okay, so now all the film is back in the canister. So therefore, I'm going to open the camera back, which I do with this latch right here. Just pull that down, it pops right open, and voila! There's my roll of film. Pull this up, and there, and it's gone, and it's out. Okay. Now, in this particular model, and in many of these compact fixed lens viewfinder cameras of this era, just because of the way they're built, sometimes you get little chips of film that breaks off over here, and you need to, just turn it upside down, give it a little tap. If there's any film chips in there, they need to come out. Do not stick sharp objects like this in there. I'm just using this to point. This is the slot. Sometimes for whatever reason, the little piece of the film leader will tear off, and that obviously needs to come out. You don't want loose stuff, loose material in the interior of the camera as you're using it. But it doesn't look like that happened this time. All right, very good. So now we're going to load a new roll, a fresh roll of Color Plus 200, and so. Again, rewind knob. We're going to push this up and out of the way, like so. This part, it goes facing down. Insert that like so. Replace the rewind knob such that the teeth, or the fork rather, the fork the fork of the rewind mechanism here is engaging There, you see the little fork thing? There you go, you see it. Okay. So that is going to mate with this here, like so. Okay. And now I'm going to pull the leader across and insert the film leader into this slot. And my goal, if you see here, there is a tooth right there, and I want that tooth to engage one of the perforations so that it grabs it and holds it. And you can also see that on this take-up spool, these edges here are serrated. So the reason they're serrated like that is so that I can do this with my thumb. Pay attention that in these old viewfinder cameras, the take-up spool moves this way. In SLRs of the 1970s or of the period, the take-up spool generally moved this way. And at least in this model camera and some of the other old viewfinder cameras, the spool can be moved easily with your thumb in either direction. So make sure that when you're using these old viewfinder cameras, first of all, read the instruction manual and make sure you know which direction this thing moves in. But in a lot of these old viewfinder cameras, the take-up spool will move in this direction as opposed to this direction, which is more characteristic of SLRs. Okay, so here we go. There's the take-up, there's the slot right there, and we're going to put the film leader in the slot and then tension it. Okay. Film leader into the, and I usually just hold the film cartridge with my thumb as I'm doing this. And let's see if that has it. I got it. Is that it? Nope. No, it did not. Okay. One more time. Aha. That's sick of it. Come on, man. Come on, man. In the words of our great president. All right, there we go. Is that? All right, here we go. All right, now, can you see that? There is a tooth which has caught, there we go, there's a tooth that's caught that perforation. So I'm going to turn that like so that it has, okay, all right. Now, I want to turn this with my thumb until I see that these teeth here are also engaging these perforations right here, there, and there. Okay, very good. All right, and it looks all right. Okay, and we're going to close it. Nice. There we go. Now I'm going to, what I'm going to do is pull the, well, give this a little twist to make sure that I've taken up all the slack, because what I want to see this turn as I advance the film to confirm that I've got the film in there and that it's loaded properly. So I want to turn this gently just until I feel a little resistance right there. Okay, that's about right there. So now that I've taken up the slack in the film cartridge, and push this back down, right? Yeah, there it goes. Yeah. Yep, there we go. Okay, good. Yeah, the take-up knob here is sort of a unique design. It's sort of, you give it a quarter twist and it pops up before it moves. Now it has tension. There, now it has tension. All right, but if I do this, there. All right, okay. So now I'm going to advance the film twice, and hopefully this will move in the direction indicated by the arrow, right? No, not in the direction indicated by the arrow. The direction indicated by the arrow is for rewinding, so it should move in the opposite direction. So hopefully that's what'll happen. And one. Alrighty then, two. And I'm going to take one more. There. And I'm not going to advance it because I do not want to keep the shutter under tension. I recommend getting in the habit of advancing the film before you take an exposure, not after, because I like the old mechanical shutters, and they are kept under tension by springs, and it's not good to keep them under tension for longer than is strictly necessary. Even overnight, it's just not a good idea. It can wear the mechanism. So I've released the shutter, so now the next time I go to take a picture, I'll advance, I'll wind it. All right, now, and again, on a lot of these old viewfinder cameras and some old rangefinders as well, the film counter, the exposure counter, is not an automatic reset. That is, on the SLRs of the 1970s, when you open the back of the camera, it automatically reset the frame counter. Not on this one. So on this camera, I need to turn this dial such that that white index mark aligns with the 0. And this particular frame counter dial, also, when you're using these old viewfinder cameras, read the owner's manual to make sure. This counts up. It will count from 0, it'll go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. as I shoot the roll, and it will tell me how many rolls I have shot. Some of the cameras of this type from this era are count down frame counters, such that you would set it at 36 or just above 36, and it would then count down the number of frames you have remaining. When you in the 1950s, they hadn't quite settled on the standard, so you need to read your manual and make sure you know which. But for this one, I'm just going to grab the little serrated edge here, and I'm going to turn it just a wee bit so that index mark is aligned with the number 0, like so. Bingo, and there we go. That's it. Okie dokie. And I've got color plus 200 loaded in there, and I'm going to be shooting it in bright daylight, and almost certainly I'll be shooting this film in bright daylight. So for Sunny 16, I'm going to use 125. This camera, you have to press that. Here we go. So I'm going to set it for 125 and 16. I'm going to call. No, shoot. See. On this camera, you have to push this to release the mechanism, which allows you to change the aperture, and it does that because it. Well, I'll show you in a second. So I want it at 125 and 16. Set at 120, like so. All right, very good. What? Doggone it! What the heck? All right, now, quit messing with me. There. Right? No. These old cameras. All right, move that like so, and all right, that should get it. Close enough. Yeah, there we go. All right, 125 and 16. So what it does is this button here. It's there's a locking mechanism such that now, as I turn this dial, no matter where I turn it, I'm shooting at the same exposure value. So I can shoot at 60-22, 125-16, or 1/300th and somewhere between 8 and 11, which is probably where I'll be shooting most of the exposures on this roll. I'll talk more about that in a subsequent video. Okay, so now we've got the camera loaded and ready to go. So I'm going to put it back in its case. And that's about all there is to it. I hope that you found this video useful and informative. If so, please do like and subscribe. And as always, check out the links down below. Thanks now. Bye-bye.